Hello, D&Ders, RPGers, Game Masters, Dungeon Masters, and the like. I'm still talking about White Star because I like it that much, and I think it's something worth pursuing. There's actually several different sci-fi space games. Probably one of the most noted ones is Starfinder. A lot of people like it. I think it's a little too many rules for my group. I teach on two ends of the spectrum, younger kids and then I teach older kids like 40s 50s people, right? And what I find out that the younger kids, if you bog them down in rules, they find it boring and they want to play, right? What I found about the older players, same thing. They have all day jobs. They all want to do stuff and they want to play a game, come in, sit down, half hour, explain some rules, and let's start going at it. They don't want to do a research paper. Me personally, I like the research paper. That's who I am. But for them, it's a little cumbersome. So we played Stars to that number for a while. It didn't really bite them. They thought it was just too much of a, I don't know, it just didn't work, right? So, and I looked at Mothership. I had a couple of things I was really, really interested in trying. I stumbled upon White Star after reading lots of, I think it was on Reddit or MeWe or whatever it is. I found it, got it, and oh, this is exactly what I wanted. And it's been very, very, the fruition value has been crazy, right? So I'm going to think I've been kind of explaining what's in the book. I did two different little videos on that. I did two videos on skill checks. One of them was about character creation, the first two more or less, and then I did skill checks. And so now I'm actually going to talk about the world or the universe of or sector of White Star and how it can be used to excite players into playing. It has the archetypes that we think of any sci-fi kind of game. So if you go to drduick.com and click on the icosahedron, this is my normal D&D page, all this stuff in here. And obviously I'm hyperlinking all my talks from my YouTube videos. And I'm putting out a whole lot of them right now because I'm a teacher. Last year I used Zoom, loved it. And I said, I've always wanted to record what I do. And this gave me a way to do it. And I can, so I decided I'm just going to catalog this. When school hits, I'm not going to be doing this. And I think that we're now not going to be using Zoom anymore because they're going to be using Google Meet. I don't know what they're doing, but I want to do this before I have to go learn something else. So if you click on the robot guy who seems like he's whispering something to you and then he turns, you go into my science fiction RPG page and it's pretty big. This actually has Stars Without Number stuff in here, and then it has a little bit of Overdust. You can click on see some of that stuff if you want, but this is all White Stars, pretty much where I'm focusing most of these things. I've been talking about this. The 4x6 note card is mentioned in another video, but it's a very, very small kind of, I print them out literally and use a glue stick and put them on. And if my sons, when they play, they like using this. You can use the character sheets. I do have those up there, which you see right here. There's the pilot mercenary, right? You can just click those. The real good thing about this, they do have the skill checks written down by the side, or the actual skills you get written on the side. And like I said, this is kind of nice. I like the simplicity of their actual character sheets. It really works for me. So what and these are all here for you. This is off the first book. I don't have other character sheets for all the added ones in the companion book, but you get the idea. There's a blank one, so you can add stuff to it. But I like to use note cards. I think if you can't put the character on a note card, then it means you really can't memorize it, and therefore you don't know I just like to keep it going pretty quick here, right? So let's take a look at the mythos, I consider, or the history of White Star. Okay, it talks about something called the Kelron sector. Now I have two things here. One's a sector map that looks like this, okay? Now I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, what you see here in the middle is all the stuff that's in the White Star book. I put these things here, these little ones, and change the font might be slightly different. I tried to get something that was matching. This is called the outer rim. I'm making my outer rim. So every one of these things goes to a module. Like this is the one that's in the back of the actual book. This is the full map. And I have the module in the behind it, right? I use pop-out pictures when I play. So I put this on a separate screen. So everyone sees this, I see that. So the characters see this, oh, I'm here, da, 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 da. So I play like that. Okay, so they have this one. And I think I explained in another video how I use split screen D&D. All right, so you can take a look at that if you want. So what I've gone through is, well, I can take that out. I don't need that. These things pop out, they don't come back. Well, I can close that one too. Anyways, so I made like this one. This is Bastiri 7. So I find these really kind of cool looking maps, and I come up with my own little thing explaining what the purpose of this thing is. So I'm kind of creating my own world or universe, right? Here's Kettle 3. That's an outpost. Here's Detritus 4. That's a desert area. This one's really kind of cool because this actually ends up in a different area where there's like the new, this is almost like Stargate a little bit, which is sort of fun. I do use the tokens. I make tokens out of the, whatchamacall, the book. I like to look at the shock troopers and the void knights, and I use them in here too as well. Like I said, some of this stuff is sort of fun. This one right here, I was playing with Zoom 20, so I scroll down, and then I scroll down again. I said, oh, no, there's a giant whatever monster, and then they go here, and then they go here, and then I use a pen to write stuff. So this is because of the way characteristically I'm playing it with Zoom with a writing utensil. I can do it like this, and this too. I mean, these pop out like this. For me, I mean, if I want to use pop-out screens, I could do that as well. This is what the Oasis looks like at night. The Anubis back here in the back. So, like I said, I have a couple of things going on. I know this might be out of the reach for most people to do on their own, but this is the way I like to do it. This is how I invest, my fun time, I guess you might say. All right. So this is all here, but let's just talk, like this is what I'm creating. Let's talk about what's going on in here. This is where I really, really think this has a lot to offer. Some people need framework. I think a lot of my playing characters need a framework. Why am I doing this? What's my motivation? So we're going to talk about the Kelron sector, right? So I'm going to kind of go through this briefly, and it's in the actual original book, but I'll just talk about it. So there's an interstellar civil war going on with the Galactic Consortium, right? So this guy right here, and I use him. He's the aristocrat in the book. I call him the typical bad guy, right? His name is Supreme Lord Eldar. He's actually the guy that's orchestrating everything. He's trying to bring, how would you say, order to the galaxy, right? This is going to have so many similarities with other things in very well-known movies. I don't want to say them because you can figure it out, right? He also has this guy that sits underneath him called Telemachus, who is a void knight. And then you have these guys, which are called shock troopers, right? So I decided to take this mythos and expand on it a little bit. So I came up with the Void Knight hierarchy, Telemachus, and then he has his 2 gray soldiers, which are beneath him. And then each one of those have 3. Okay, these are 3rd degree, I call them because there's 3 of them, right? What's strange is I changed a little bit about where Void Knights come from. Void Knights come from the conversion of Star Knights. So what happens is these Void Knights find a Star Knight. They're actually hunted and prized. So when you hunt down a Star Knight, you basically convert them to Void Knight ideology. And when that happens, they have to kill off one of the 6, essentially, and they take the place of it. And then it's a hierarchical climb to the top, right? So basically, it's a way of refining the troops constantly. Now, why would someone like Sem try to find another Void Knight by converting a Star Knight? Well, he would want to put another Star Knight over here to basically form allegiances within the hierarchy. So the rules are you cannot attack the one that converted you. So it's sort of a weird thing. So if Sem converts more of these guys on this level, he will never be attacked by these guys. So there's always some kind of incentive behind that conversion. So it's sort of a fun way to play the game because the Star Knights in the game are not only the heroes, more or less, right? They're also the most prized things for capturing. So they have to be protected as much as they do all the damage. And they're always being messed with telepathically to join. And it's kind of a very, very fun way to play the game. It adds another layer of interesting to the whole thing. And when they're reaching out with their feelings, it's always half dark, half light, and everything that's going on. So they also have, these are the 3rd degree because there's 3 of each one of them, but they also have their hierarchy where they actually are in control of shock troopers. There's the really heavy armored one with the blaster cannons, not candles. And the other one is the S-84. These are smaller enemy fast. These are straight out of the book. I love the pictures. The artwork in the book is so cool. I like black and white art. And I think when you do this thing, it makes it easier when you put them in roll 22. So this is the typical map that they give you in the book. And you can see how much I added. I added all those things all around the outside of them. All right. And I only did like maybe 6 of them because we're moving through them. I try to stay 1 or 2 ahead, right? So they're rotating through the actual, the sector, how'd you say, on the outer rim. So the ones that are mentioned in the book, they go around the outside and there's little excerpts of what's in each one. Okay. So, and what's really kind of cool is they give you a little bit, and this Spahn did a great job on this. It gives you a person, like an NPC that you could stick in there. So this way, Andala has a guy named Count Webb. He pays his taxes to the Loyal Consortium, and he funnels money to resistance. So you can have this guy as the double-edged sword. He's playing both ends against the middle. So I found a picture online, stuck them in there. So my characters, when I go to actually put them in the campaign, they already know that's Count Webb because we've already given a little history on the guy. He's well known. And my characters, if they stay on the outer rim, they're not going to be found. Once they go inside, people are going to start paying money to capture them because they're kind of like outlaws, just kind of like, Here's Bryn Alpha, right? Here's a interesting thing. There's a Warren Shelton. He's basically constantly in touch with Telemachus. And so he's another one out of the book I thought was pretty cool. And it kind of talks a little bit about the facility. It's basically a processing facility. So you can add this to your story play. And when I put it in the outer rim, how these things this mining group is sending stuff to Bryn Alpha, see how it's going to go. And then obviously Bryn Beta is actually used to be a prison place. And it was all charred out because, somebody got a little mad, so Telemachus just bombed the hell out of it. So what's strange about this is that I have a couple characters that immediately decided that they were escapees from Bryn Beta before it was destroyed. So there's some kind of reason why they don't like the Galactic Consortium, because they escaped it, but they had friends that were killed, and they were basically protesters or something that were unlawfully targeted, which is sort of fun. So it gives them a little something to hang on. Like Dormer is the gateway to the entire thing. It's the center, okay? And it's the one that's no one's ventured there, so it's kind of a good thing. So if I ever do get to capture a Star Knight and then we do a one-on-one campaign, I'm going to take him in there and paint that world really interesting. This has several different slides actually describing us, and obviously it's the home of Telemachus. So whenever it's talking about Dormer, it is not the place to, you don't want to show up there because there's no way you can't get through without being scanned. You had some really high masking tech or something like that. It kind of keeps you're invisible practically. So they have Genaris 1, which is actually one of twin planets that you see right here. Okay. And then you have Genaris 2, right? This is kind of cool. And then you have the Khan Nebula. And I think this is a wink and a nod to Star Trek Wrath of Khan, which is kind of cool. I will talk about Starship Battle, right? Because I actually have something really kind of weird that occurs down here in the Kelron sector. And what happens when you encounter a nebula? There's a different type of fighting, and that'll be in another video I have, right? Here's Ryla, which is actually a space station. And this is for maintaining like supplies and munitions for the rest of the Kelron sector. And this guy right here, he's a real baddie, right? It's Commander Taxes here. He's a senior scientist, and basically he's trying to extract that. And I gave him a purpose already. His job is to extract the souls, all right, or whatever gives the Star Knight power. So for those they can't convert, they're basically dissected for their. So this extra level of tension makes the gameplay kind of interesting, because if you don't make it one way, they're going to take it from you. So it's really fun, right? Then to know. Right, to Noah, I guess you might want to say, and explains a little more about it. And the last one is kind of really talking about this Admiral Norris Moore. And one character decided that they were going to play the granddaughter of this guy, and she doesn't want to talk about it. So it's kind of under the table. It's fun to have like the characters when they read it and say, "Oh, I'm going to tie myself into this guy, and this is the reason why I'm fighting this rebellion is because I know how evil my grandfather is," which just makes it look kind of fun, right? And obviously, there's always one thing that's kind of way out there. This is Talon, which is actually it's a white sands planet, which is kind of cool. Nice. And of course, you have to have somebody that's bad, right? That's you're going to tangle with. In fact, my crew that was playing stole a ship from this guy, Captain Moose. So I'm sure they took a blockade runner, and of course, he's going to be hunting them down and start like collecting, payments, I guess you might say. So I found a guy to represent him. This is Captain Moose, and he'll probably show up and going to give these guys one heck of a hard time with the space pirates when they eventually catch up with them. So this is pretty much the background. So I tried to give it's about 15 minutes explaining what it is about the actual thing when you first read it. And I have a very short attention span because I guess I got ADD and all that other crap. So I look at something like this and it's just, wow, it's really kind of cool. It has a cute little history. I say cute little history. It's a history that can be expanded on. And that's the best part about it. It's like OSR gives you that breathing room that you say, I like this, I want to add to it, and I don't want to be adding to it. I don't want to break what's there. So I just kind of put my thing together on top of what's already there. Lots of fun. And once again, I want to thank James Spahn. This is excellently done. I wish I was better at stuff like this. you know, my areas is science and mathematics kind of thing is really what I'm into. But then I see something like this, and I just appreciate people that have that kind of thought to put something together, publish it, and then, yeah, I don't even know how much he's really collecting from this, but it's just such a cool idea that someone invested in this, and it brings so much fun and joy to people in my life. So I want to thank you for your time. I hopefully you found this interesting, and it sparks you guys to go investigate and check this out. Like if you read it in the book, it's really nice, and the book itself is it's an excellent buy for what you're getting. Okay, with that, I want to thank you guys, and you have an excellent day. All right, bye bye.